This is ben-Emmett with the Torah Watchman Show International, LLC, 501c3 company, registered with the federal government of the United States of America. Hope everyone's well. This is a special edition. Anyone waking up early Saturday, February 28, 2026, heard in the news, President Trump, Donald J. Trump, finally gave the okay to Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, to go forward and attack Iran first. Many people have been speculating within a week that an ICBM could be loaded with a nuclear weapon made from enriched uranium, with a possibility that they could use that weapon as a final choice. However, the mullahs have paid the price, ultimate price, with their life. I just heard recently that the supreme leader, the Ayatollah, has been eliminated, and perhaps the so-called puppet president there as well. The entire leadership is falling. Now, other than a news break, what is the focus here? The focus here is coming up to Purim. You know, Jews around the world celebrate the festive celebration. It's one day of general fasting, and then in the evening we have a celebration, very festive, people dress in costumes. Kind of akin to a Mardi Gras celebration by Christians, Gentile, but it's a religious focus on the Book of Esther. The focal point in this whole thing is the Hebrew word for Zakor. I talked to the rabbi today about this. He's more pacifist than I am. And I told him, I said, Zakor is predominantly mentioned in every Siddur, whether you're Orthodox or not, and Ka'ai, as that is to remember the seventh day and keep it holy. Okay? Zakor is also mentioned predominantly in times of Yorkshire and remembering the anniversary of someone's passing of blessed memory. It's also, generally speaking, Zakor is to remember the 613 mitzvot, and for instance, to wear tzitzit. But it is also predominantly referred in a context, especially in coming up with Purim, as to remember Amalek. Remember Amalek, not in blessed memory, but remember the horrible things they did to the ancient Hebrews as they were struggling to survive recently after they left Egypt and were going after they crossed the Red Sea into Saudi Arabia. They were attacked by the Amalekites. Now, God advised Moshe to avoid the land of the Philistines for that exact reason. Do not proactively go and attack someone, an enemy state, or another foreign power or foreign tribe. If they attack you, you're to wipe them out completely, utterly. And they did attack from behind the vulnerable of ancient Israel when they were just essentially nomads in a desert, trying to find a resting place and going to the Mount Sinai for the reception of the Ten Commandments we know so much about. Now, remember, Amalek is also tied to historical figures. Many rabbis, and I believe too, that Hitler is one of the sons of Amalek because of his avert hatred for the Jewish people. Also, other leaders in historical and time that reared their ugly head toward the Jewish people, the Ottomans, the Persians, other people, King Nebuchadnezzar, whatever, all these people are enemies of God and enemies of Israel. Now, you can roughly refer to anti-Semites as sons and children of Amalek, of that hatred. You could definitely think about Hamas, which are nothing more than Palestinians affiliated with that political faction, the terrorist faction, also Hezbollah and the Houthis. And with this war between Israel, the United States, and Iran, we also think about prophecy like Ezekiel chapter 38, 39, the last days, Gog and Magog, which is many different interpretations, but we do believe it refers to Iran, it refers to areas of Africa, like Yemen, and also Turkey. And despite President Trump's willingness to reach across the aisle, per se, and the Gaza peace plan with Turkey, Erdogan there is sworn to take over Jerusalem. And that's why Bibi's refused any Turkish soldiers into Gaza for that reason. But anyway, without going to rabbit's hole, Zakor means, in this context, remember Amalek. And a lot of pacifist, progressive Jews, and I love you all, my brothers and sisters there, we're all in the diaspora together. When you have 100,000 or more Israelis that cannot go back home because of this war, you have several hundred that are stuck in airplanes, I hear, in Saudi Arabia and Bahrain and UAE and Qatar and all this. I guess these are businessmen. They go there to make money. You could pay me to work in any of those Arab countries that hate us. But this is a time to remember Zakor and remember the hatred of those people in the past. It's actually one of the 613 mitzvahs, the Holy Commandment for all generations, for eternity, to remember the type of hatred, the type of Hitler-esque kind of behavior of these evil tyrants of the past, that you cannot totally exterminate them. They always will rise up their ugly head and attack us. I love Rabbi Kahan when he said, peace at any cost would lead to the next Holocaust. And many rabbis prayed for peace leading up to World War II, when in Poland, their own countrymen, police force, conspired with the Nazi SSS and were rounded up and taken away to death camps. All at the time, rabbis were saying the Mashiach will come. We're waiting on the Mashiach. We have to respect our Torahs within our shuls and the graves of our blessed ancestors there. We cannot leave this land. We can't go back to Israel, can't fight for Israel, because Rashi said we are not to go to invade Israel, the promised land, and attack those foreigners there and drive them out. Of course, we know what happened with the murder of the 6 million. We know what happened October 7th, 2023. So many people forget Amalek. They forget that commandment and just forget common sense that these people hate the Jewish people. I educate my 9-year-old daughter this. Majority of the world does not like you too much. You may be nice to them, and God bless you for, in your innocence, to reaching out across the aisle and try to make friends of all races, all groups of people. But you have to be very careful. Know that these people are raised essentially to hate you. And you think in the 1960s we had a white and black problem in America, terrible, terrible times, where whites just despised blacks and they did not want to go to public areas for blacks. The same kind of thing is happening with the Jewish people in our Ivy League colleges. I don't need to go further to make my point here. Are we living in days of prophecy being fulfilled? Yes, I do believe that. And Gog and Magog, that final war, is happening in our midst today. I hope we're awake, and I hope we're paying attention. I hope we're watching the news. This is a very unique Shabbat, even though we're commanded by God and every creature, every living thing to rest on this holy day. On Shabbat of all days, Israel has something like called up 100,000 maybe? Tens of thousands of reservists. I don't know how that big a number is, but a lot of people were called emergency reserves, go to war. After they essentially were sent back home after the Gaza peace plan, whatever you think about that, went into effect. So, what's going to happen? We're not sure, but taking out the leadership, regimes change, definitely is the only way to get rid of this poison. You know, you have to slice off the head of the hydra, per se, and you have to get down to the root of that poison ivy and just rip it out. And you have to just stop thinking that everyone wants to deal peace with you, and they don't. They want to destroy you. I do commend President Donald J. Trump for holding Israel's back in this. It's good for U.S. foreign policy, for Iran to have a regime change, and for the son of the Shah to maybe have an opportunity to go there and present himself as the next prime minister or president there. But it will the people, it has been made known, thousands of people have been murdered, 50,000 or more people have been murdered in Iran by the killing squads, much like the Nazi SSS, killing their own people. And that was not the will of the people for the mullahs to come into power. It was a radical, extremist, Islamic, fascist group of people in the 1970s. And I remember some of that, in the time of Jimmy Carter. So remember Zakor. Remember and never forget what God has said to not forget. Because sure enough, as we raise our children and we live out generation to generation, we need to be proactive. We need to be ready. We need to watch our back. Who do you trust? I don't know. It's cynical to think about this, but if you're a Jew, you understand. And a lot of them, most of American Jews are just pacifists and progressive, and they're on the other side. They're in the enemy's camp with the Palestinians. And they're for the mullahs in Iran. But I just hope that God is in control, and I know He is on His throne. He is in control of this. These events that's transpiring, we are living the annals of the next history books written today. Explain it to your children, explain it to your grandchildren, what's happening. That God is in control, God is on His throne. And we may be seeing the books of the prophets like Ezekiel and others being fulfilled, and definitely Zechariah chapter 12 and others being fulfilled in our times. It's exciting. It's a little bit scary when you're in a bomb shelter and you hear klaxons of sirens going off like in Israel. I'm thankful for what we have. Hopefully this war will end soon. But just understand, you cannot make peace with everyone. Some people you can. Some people you can settle disputes that lead to war. Pakistan, it said they're declared war in Afghanistan because of their terrorist attacks against that porous border, between the two countries. Blessed are the peacemakers, but you have to be able to understand good from evil and understand that history has a way of repeating itself. Anyway, this is Hakam Yara ben-Emmett signing out till next time. God bless you. God bless America. God bless Israel. Let's pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Shalom Aleichem. If you've enjoyed this program, please click like and subscribe.